Hey, everybody, and welcome to a shredding wild ride with Steveo. We've got the ultimate shredder, Dave Mustaine of Megadeth, and he happens to be the very first guest ever in this brand new bitchin' RV that I'm sitting in right now, which I'm able to actually drive myself, unlike the tour bus. And the podcast van that you're all so familiar with lives in Los Angeles. This one lives in Tennessee. So it's the Nashville Delight. Today's episode is hot off the press. And throughout it, more than once, I blurt out some stuff that just makes me think, why did I say that? That's embarrassing. And my face goes beet red with absolute humiliation. And Dave Mustaine is just an unbelievable trooper throughout. To be clear, when he hears something he doesn't like, you can tell. And he's just the coolest dude ever. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the universe, I bring to you thrash metal royalty, Dave Mustaine.
Wow, thank you. What an intro.
Yeah, man.
Fantastic.
Thrash metal is the correct genre. Is that right?
Well, some people would call it thrash, other people call it speed metal.
Yeah.
I like to just call it Megadeth because it's a little bit of classical, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of punk rock, a lot of heavy metal, a lot of speed metal. And the thrash part, I don't know where anybody tries to differentiate between thrash or speed because it's kind of the same thing. If you go back in the day, now there's a billion different fragments of metal. You've got speed metal, black metal, white metal, death metal, power metal, prog metal,
hair metal,
heavy metal, hair metal. Metal. There's so many different types of metal. What do you say? So,
I recently attended your concert in Nashville, and again, thank you so much for the invite. I really, really enjoyed that. You were tremendously generous with your time, both before and after the show. Thank you for that as well.
Sure.
And it was just fascinating. Before the concert, I told you that I'd actually met you in 1987 when you opened up for Dio at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens. Mm-hmm. And it was like before the show, maybe in the afternoon, and I showed up early and weaseled my way into the arena and was just wandering around, and I bumped into you in the concessions area. Mm-hmm. And I had my autograph book with me and got your signature, and I tore apart my house today looking for that autograph book. I know I have it, and turns out that it's got to be in Los Angeles still.
Oh.
But I was just dying to show you your autograph from almost 40 years ago. I remember the concert extremely well. It was right when So Far, So Good, So What was coming out. I remember you referencing a song. You said, this song I wrote the day that Cliff Burton died. And if I remember correctly, the song that you were referring to and that you played was In My Darkest Hour. Mm-hmm. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And so you wrote In My Darkest Hour the day that Cliff Burton died?
Probably most of it. I wrote it in one sitting, and I remember getting a phone call from a friend of mine named Metal Maria Ferrero. And she's with Adrenaline PR out of New York. You probably know Metal Maria. And she called me, so it probably was the day after he died, right, or maybe a day or two after, because they didn't call me. I had to hear it from somebody else. So, however long it was from whenever that tragic incident occurred, and when I found out, I think it's probably a couple days. Yeah.
Right, but you found out on the day that you wrote that song.
Yes. Yeah. Let's phrase it accurately. The day I found out, I wrote the song.
Right. Yeah, unbelievably sad. You wrote the song and then found out? Because to listen to the lyrics of the song, it didn't, it seemed inspired by that. Like you wrote the song and found out after.
No. You about In My Darkest Hours?
Yeah.
No, I got a phone call.
Oh, so it was inspired by that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the day that I was told was the day that I wrote the song. The day I found out.
Right. Okay. And then when I was at your show, it was just a couple weeks ago, I think. Notably, you didn't play that song at the show, and I'm wondering if there's a reason for that.
Too many songs to play. Sometimes we play it, sometimes we don't.
Right.
Sometimes we play Wake Up Dead, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we play Wake Up Dead into In My Darkest Hour, sometimes we don't. There's just so many songs, we've got, including all the cover tracks that we've done, we have 205 songs. So
wow.
You try and pick songs out of that big of a repertoire, it's difficult.
Right.
Even if we took one record off each album, even if we took one song off each album, that's 16 albums, and then the B-side album, Hidden Treasures, that's 17 songs. Each song is, say, 4 minutes. That's 68 minutes worth of material only that you'd have to try and cram into a 90-minute set, so...
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Another thing that I noticed during your show, it seemed after every single song, you left the stage, switched guitars. You came out with a new guitar for every song. Is that right?
Very close. Very close. Every 3 songs we switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty amazed by the variety of guitars. And another thing with just back to the death of Cliff Burton, I was so like rabid of a heavy metal fan. That's why I showed up at the arena early and found you the day of the concert. I religiously made it to the newsstand to buy the new issue of Circus Magazine and Metal Edge magazine. I got all these
Cream.
Yeah.
Hit Parader.
And at the time, in what I think was like November of 1986 or something, I'd been in so much trouble with my parents, with school, that they had actually taken away all of my music and my Walkman, my headphones.
You must have gotten in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
That's pretty brutal.
I wasn't allowed to listen to music. I mean, just like when they would take away my skateboard, I always had backups,
Yeah.
But what was notable was that even though I wasn't allowed to listen to my heavy metal music, my mom knew that I loved it so much that when she saw the death of Cliff Burton in the newspaper, she actually cut out the article and left it on the kitchen, the kitchen counter for me. Like, oh, this is
important to you.
Yeah, something that was important to me, and
that was nice.
It was nice. It was a very nice thing, and then that's how I got the news. And then I went to the newsstand for the next issue of Circus Magazine and Metal Edge, and they were still running, like it was. And then the next issue, and then I didn't know that magazines took like 3 months.
Yeah.
To come out.
Yeah.
So and just the fact of the media back then, that was the only way to get news.
Yes, it was.
So 3 months behind, I almost felt resentful. I think I did feel resentful, but there's also I lived in Canada at the time. The Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens was where I saw the show, and in Canada, they don't have MTV, or they didn't have MTV. They had Much Music. Mm-hmm. They didn't have the Headbangers Ball. They had the Pepsi Power Hour.
Music blues.
And I'm telling this crazy story, and it's, but on the Pepsi Power Hour, I remember there being a thing that said, the VJ guy in charge of the show, he said, "Here we have a request for a Metallica music video." And just to let you know, there are so many requests for metallic music videos. Look at this pile, and there's this huge pile of envelopes on the floor, and they said every single one of those letters is a request for a Metallica music video. But I want you to know that the band's official statement, the official position, is that they'll never make a music video. They don't want to, be commercial or whatever it is. And I thought, oh, okay, that's great. But then Cliff died, and the next thing you know, they got the one music video, and I thought, wait, you said one thing, and then you did another, and I was kind of offended by that. Years later, I'm partying with Lars, and I told him, among other things, I told him that when I saw the one music video, I arrived at the conclusion that Cliff was leaving claw marks inside his coffin, trying to get out to strangle him.
Oh.
It's a terrible thing to say, but I had always had a penchant at that time for saying, there's almost like I had Tourette's. Like I went...
Somebody's snoring with the story.
Yeah. Cool story, Steve. Moon pie sleeping now. Thanks, dude.
In any case, back to now I'm blushing. I'm embarrassed.
Have you guys been approached to do like anything hologram? Like any shows like the Kiss is doing?
Ooh, a hologram version of yourself. That presumably would mean that the behavior could be perfectly controlled, but maybe the real version of you can't control the behavior. Maybe the real version of you has a terrible habit that needs some breaking. And what's the best way to break a bad habit? Ladies and gentlemen, you replace it with a good habit, like fume, which is a very good habit, something that I just enjoy doing. It's a diffusive device that flavors air. It's got all these great flavored cores. My favorite is still crisp mint, even though spearmint is a close second. And with this, you can kick the bad habit that you need to kick. And to do that, you go to tryfume.com and use the promo code STEVO. That gets you a free gift with your purchase of a journey pack. The journey pack being the beginning of the journey to the happier, healthier you without the bad habit. Be the next success story. They've had 300,000 success stories because it works. So, one more time, go to tryfume.com and use the promo code STEVO to get a free gift with your purchase of the journey pack. And get on that journey, man. And let's get back to it.
Is that something you'd be interested in doing?
I'm still alive.
Yeah. Right.
How's your neck? Famously, you're headbanging for decades and decades. Mm-hmm. You had a neck condition.
It's I had a bone break in my neck, and I was at the hands of a chiropractor. So they had to fuse my neck together. So my motion and my range of motion has been really messed up. I've got a plate in my neck, and it just really fucked everything up. They said you have two choices. They can go in through the back, or they can go in through the front. And they said that if you go in through the back, it's much more difficult, it's much more difficult to go in through the front. And the healing prognosis was better if you went through the front, though. And I said, well, it's riskier, but it's a better shot at healing. I'm going to go for going through the front. So they had to put this spreader in my neck like what they do in somebody's rib cage when they do open heart surgery, and they pulled all these muscles over here over to this side. This side didn't get stretched very much, but this side got stretched all the way over there, and really hurt my ability to keep my head in where it's supposed to normally be. I have to work really hard to keep it in the normal range of motion and stuff. So PT was hard and it took forever. I still work on it when I do my workout. But the neck is okay. The only bummer about it is the after effects, because the plate has rested against my vocal box, and it keeps me from hitting certain high notes, and I have to work harder at it. I'm taking vocal strength training once a week to make sure that I can do that. It's hard, but I want to try and be a singer, so I've got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. I didn't notice that you had any trouble.
Thanks.
With
Thank you. Can I get some water?
Yeah, for sure. You want still or sparkling?
Still's fine.
I can grab that.
Yeah. We've got a water sponsor.
Yeah, I can tell.
It's
Did you say still or sparkling?
Still's fine.
Yeah. Has your headbanging changed your approach to it when you're performing with the neck stuff?
In the beginning, it was a big difference for me because, I couldn't move. I remember we were scheduled to play Yankee Stadium with the Big Four concert the day that they found out I needed my neck to be fused together. And so I'm laying on the emergency table, and my manager says, Metallica's manager called you a pussy because you're going to get your neck fused together and you're not going to come out here and play instead.
Wow.
And I thought, and that's a gutless thing to say. I'm laying here getting ready to have back surgery and you call me a pussy. So I had the doctor stitch me up, inject me full of all kinds of steroids and shit. I went and played the concert, and then I went back and I had the surgery. But it turned out great as far as healing's concerned. The only problem is when you have a vertebra and the motion in between it stops, the motion above it and below it has to do extra work. Uh-huh. So eventually those two vertebrae will also need some kind of special care and attention.
Wow.
I don't plan on headbanging for another 30 years. So
okay.
I'm already 63, so I figure, if I play another 5, 10 years, 15 years, whatever, then that's a good run.
I love that headbanging is not optional.
You can't. It's a kind of a feeling you just can't help.
Yeah. That's great. And the fact of it, I could imagine like logic dictating that maybe you learn to play without headbanging, but that's not an option.
You can, and I do a lot of times, but it's for me, my foot kind of taps a little bit. If I'm sitting down, it's always tapping. If I'm standing up, sometimes my leg will bounce a little bit, but it doesn't happen all the time. When the show's on and the lights are going and everything and people are cheering and clapping and stuff like that, it's kind of hard not to, because you see them and it's kind of this undulating movement that's taking place, and it's very contagious.
For sure. It occurs to me that I'd like to stop being rude and introduce my co-host Scott Randolph.
Hi.
And then over here, Vinny is off camera, and Isaac's off camera too. But these are my boys. These are the crew. When I was at your show in Nashville, you acknowledged. Maybe did you bring them on stage? Two doctors, which you credited with saving your life.
Well, I didn't bring him on stage.
Yeah, you didn't bring him on stage. You acknowledged that they were in the crowd.
He was over on the side of the stage because he was there, and he actually. We were talking about all of the radiology and what happens when somebody's dying from exposure to radiation. I had just seen the movie Chernobyl, and I started writing a little bit of some lyric about it, and then several years went past, and then this television series came on, and I thought, oh, there's that fucking thing again. And so I watched a little bit of it, and then I went back and I looked at it was some schlocky B movie where these college kids went on an extreme adventure down to Chernobyl, right? So that was the song where the guy in the beginning is in love, and his love leaves him like the people left their animals in Chernobyl when it was time to leave. They had to leave, and it wasn't like they sat around and packed shit. They had to go.
Right.
And when I watched the movie, they showed all these dogs that were left there, and I thought, what a terribly inhumane thing for people to do, you know. At some point, you know, a lot of people, their family, the dog becomes family. And in that situation, it just shows that they were nothing more than just a trinket. They just left him behind to die or whatever. And I started writing down the lyric, and then I thought in the middle of the song it'd be neat to kind of get a little bit of information about what the process is of getting sick from radiation. Because at the end of the movie that I watched, the guy's basically melting in front of my eyes. And that doctor, the very same one, had written the lyrics that were part of the end of Dogs of Chernobyl. There's this part where the guy's getting sick and his body's melting from the inside out, and what that's called and how it takes place. And I wouldn't have never known any of those words properly. I'm sure I could have plagiarized somebody, but to work with somebody, just like with Ice when we did Night Stalker, and we had Ice, who is a ranger, and we had this other friend of ours, John Clement, who is a chief in the Army, who helped us write Night Stalker because he's up at the fort. He's one of the 160th up there with all the helicopter guys that go in the dark. So I like to get real legitimate lyric
Right.
information. I don't just like writing stuff out the top of my head.
Yeah. That song and the inspiration from Chernobyl, was that like because you had your own cancer diagnosis? Yeah. When did that come in? I can only imagine how gnarly it is to be diagnosed with cancer, and way less stressful things really, really get me super bent out of shape. Which is why I'm very glad that this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Because when things get you bent out of shape, when they're super stressful, like it just builds up and it builds up. And the way to take the pressure out of all of that is to talk to somebody about that. And BetterHelp is the way to do that. This is an online service which matches people with therapists, licensed, qualified therapists, and you don't have to go to an office. You do it conveniently online, like anywhere you want and anytime you want. You can just schedule it. You go to betterhelp.com/Stevo, and that gets you 10% off your first month. This is just going to be something that really helps. It helps me. I believe it'll help you, and it's worth a shot. All you got to do is go to betterhelp.com/Stevo. Again, that gets you 10% off your first month, and you can really take the pressure and the stress out of the things that are getting you bent out of shape. I super recommend it. So go to betterhelp.com/Stevo, and let's get back to it.
That was in, I think it was 2019.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
And so you already had the relationship with the doctor for writing the Chernobyl song. And then he was your guy that you went to and he saved your life?
The album came out in 22.
Okay. There you go. Okay.
Yeah. So I got sick in 2019, I think. I think it was October of 2019.
Okay.
And we'd done all the radiation. It was seriously fierce radiation. I've had, again, we had 2 different ways to do it. We were going to do it one way that was going to be kind of moderate, and then the other way was a real intense program, and the outcome was going to be better if I'd gone for the more aggressive approach to everything, because it was I think there was 13 doses of chemo and 51 doses of radiation. It was some ungodly number. I can find out and tell you, but I mean, at that point it won't matter. But yeah, we ended up talking a lot and asked him to help me with that one part, and he did. And he sent back all this stuff that was written out, and he had to have, the guy had to have had some kind of literary skill in college, because it flowed. And he didn't know what the rhythm scheme was. Like if you have a line that ends with dog and then the next one ends with cat, it would end with like an A and end with a B. And then the next line would either be A again, so you would go dog, cat, frog, bat. That would be A, B, A, B, right? Mm-hmm. And he had that same kind of flow. The end of the first sentence would end with a phonetic syllable, and it would... same thing in the next sentence. It would flow, and it wasn't like some generic sophomoric,
right,
real silly kind of nursery rhyme. It was really good. I didn't have to do that much collaborating on that part with him. The first part of the lyric, the story, that was me writing, and then the part at the end where the guy's starting to die. That's basically he and I together, and he was just fabulous. I already talked to him when I saw him next time. I went, my fingers cracking my knuckles, and I said, "All right, man, you ready? We're gonna start recording the next record in a couple of weeks." So he was pretty jazzed about that. Not that I was gonna actually use the same outside writers or anything like that, because I try not to repeat myself.
Right. Wow. It's crazy to imagine that you get sick and you go to this doctor, under these circumstances, and then you develop a relationship where now you're writing songs for the album together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crazy.
That's fantastic, and I guess it does make sense that you would, after having that experience, watching a series about Chernobyl would affect you.
Yeah,
more.
Sure did.
More.
But I saw I saw the stuff about Chernobyl many years ago. The first time I saw it was, probably 20 years ago. And then watching the series. The series was when it aired on one of the networks. I can't remember which network it was. It was CBS or NBC or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it in real time, 1986.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I lived in England at the time, in 1986. So
it's still burning, right?
I think that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
What did it come from? Like what?
It was a nuclear power plant.
It exploded.
Yeah,
it overheated.
Yeah, don't they have the Apple TV Chernobyl that just came out too?
Yeah, it was nuts. The what's the name of the character on the Megadeth albums?
Vic Rattlehead.
Vic, and he's on every single album.
Somewhere.
Yeah, just like Eddie on.
Yeah, well, more like the Playboy Bunny, because there were a couple times when the label had tried to get us to stop putting Vic on our label, and we said no. So we just made him really small.
Nice, nice. You said in the beginning that Megadeth has some classical music influence, and I was uh, I was curious. We tried to look it up, like what your musical training was early in life.
Didn't have any.
Yeah, we found that that you taught yourself how to play guitar with a songbook.
Yeah.
What does that even look like? I mean,
Well, it was like I guess it was probably if you fold it in half, it was probably a 32 or 64 page book, and it was just chords on guitar.
I mean, don't you have to like learn how to read music first? Like, no music lessons to learn how to make sense of what's in the songbook?
Yeah, you do. The hardest part for me was learning how to tune because I didn't have anybody teach me, so I had to figure out what it said. There was no internet back then. It was back in '74, I think, was when I first started playing. And so it was Mel Bay was the name of the guitar book. And it just had normal guitar chords and didn't have any scales, didn't have any runs, nothing like that. And we just went from there, learning how to play chords until when I got a turntable and started putting vinyl down and listening to songs. My sister had started dating some guy, and his little brother played guitar too. And he helped show me a little bit about guitar playing and a little bit of the beginning nuances. I had a cousin named Johnny back then. He had a gold top Les Paul. It was so beautiful, and that was the first guitar I ever did a power chord on was that Gibson gold top Les Paul.
Yeah. I figured it was my guess that you would have had some classical music training, and I kind of like the way that Bruce Dickinson had the opera singer background, and like I see some parallels between Iron Maiden and Megadeth a little bit, like with like you said, the classical music influence, the characters on every album cover. Just like the iconic, level of it, the intelligence of the music, like when you say that you want to really like research what you're writing, I feel like that's something that Maiden has in common there too. With the 13 album, like I think we read that the significance of the number 13 for you, that it had something to do with you teaching yourself how to play guitar at the age of 13. Dude, the number 13 is 1 and 3. If you take the number 3 and plop it on its side, and then take the number 1 and put it above it, looks like a wiener, dude. And, my wiener looks way sweeter when I take a Blue Chew tablet. Why? Because we're talking about the same active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis, except Blue Chew only costs a fraction of the price, and it's delicious and chewable. And for you, the listener of the Wild Ride podcast, you can get an entire month's supply completely for free. All you pay is $5 for shipping. I mean, if you think that you're going to have a good time when you take a Blue Chew tablet, I think you're right, because I have a great time every time I take a Blue Chew tablet, and I perform at my best, and my lady really digs that. So, one more time, if you want to get an entire month's supply of Blue Chew tablets completely for free, all you pay is $5 for shipping. Then you go to bluechew.com and you use the promo code STEVO. One more time, it's bluechew.com, promo code STEVO, to get an entire month's supply. All you pay is $5 for shipping. Now let's ride this episode all the way home, baby.
It was a lot to do with 13. I was born on the 13th.
Me too. What month?
September.
Okay, I'm June 13th.
Mm,
So we're exactly 6 months apart.
yeah. June?
Oh, wait, no. This is 6 months apart from March. Sorry, I have 2 birthdays. One's for sobriety, and it's in March.
Okay.
So,
Great.
like, my September is my half sobriety birthday.
Oh, okay. So you drink near beers on those days?
Nah, I don't need to be anywhere near beer.
No. Right, okay. No virgin margaritas. Yeah. 13. The last there's 13 steps on my house here. The last house we lived in, my address added up to 13. It's just all kinds of weird stuff. It's everywhere.
Yeah. We read that you said that you had 13 relapses. That was part of it. I don't know. Maybe the internet got that one wrong.
The internet got something wrong? Son of a gun. No, I thought everything was true on the internet.
You know, with one thing that's pretty amazing. There's so many examples of people who have a history of substance abuse who look absolutely phenomenal for their age.
Mm-hmm.
Like one could argue that there's a preservative effect to a lot of these substances.
For some people, didn't work for Willie Nelson very well. But I mean, Willie's in his 90s, so.
Right.
I mean, I love the guy. There are some people that I think that look good. Stevie Nicks looks great.
Yeah.
But I think she's in her 70s.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that I'm trying to think of an example of someone who
Hi.
Debbie Harry.
What you doing?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're here at your property here. We saw a horse on the way in.
Mm-hmm.
Like what kind of animal? How many different kinds of animals do you have here?
Well, the big one is a Dutch horse. It's called a Friesian because it's from Friesland in Holland. And those horses were used for pulling carts. And those are the horses that the Amish mainly use. They're beautiful. Whenever you see a horse in a show, they show them with long black flowing hair, like if Lady Hawk, the guy Rutger Hauer, was riding a Friesian. And there was a very famous Friesian named Samson, who he lived out in Australia, and he was the most desirable Friesian of all. So his job was just to sit around all day and just do what do you call it? What do they call it? IVF?
In vitro fertilization.
Yes. I was trying to be a little bit more proper there, pal. Yeah, they do the donations of specimens and the embryos, and they're worth just a fortune. And the thing, I guess, died recently. Look up Samson, see if you can find him.
What makes him so sought after? Is it like the
look at him and you'll see
his height?
Look at him and you'll see.
Yeah, what do they call it, like a 10 hand?
There he is. No, that's not him. He's all black. They're all black.
Moon Pie here certainly has taken a liking to you.
Yeah. Animals like me.
That thing?
No, that's gay. That's not real. That's not real. That's not real. How did you spell Friesian?
I just did Samson horse.
Yeah, how do you spell Friesian? How long the tour you just ended the tour? Nashville was the last stop.
Uh-huh.
Is that it for that tour, or is it just that's it for that leg?
That's it for that record. That campaign started in October of 22, and I think it started a little bit earlier. The record came out September 2nd, 22, and I think we were already playing by then, I'm pretty sure. So, but we started around then,
Yeah.
and we went for 2 years.
So is there like a timetable that you kind of stick with how long you wait before you put out another album?
No, the album before that, Dystopia, we were out for 6 years on it.
Wow.
And Rest in Peace, we had something like that too. We had a long time between Rest in Peace and Countdown to Extinction.
Rest in Peace was your biggest album?
No, Countdown was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Countdown. So now with this tour's over, like, are you just chilling? Is it gonna be you'll wait for like you feel the inspiration to start writing? And
We felt the inspiration to start writing while we were out on the road.
there you go.
And we started doing this exercise because I have a new guitar player with Timu. We were listening to the whole back catalog of everything so that he could see what the chord structures were and any vocal ideas and stuff like that, just to get to know what my songwriting approach is so that he could know how far he could spread his wings with his songwriting stuff and not go, well, this I want to show this to you and for any reason be reluctant because he thinks that, all my songs are, about Satan.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing that is really interesting to me. The story of the song "The Conjuring," and with there was this. I mean, I guess for people who don't know, like you're Christian. But when you wrote The Conjuring, presumably you weren't Christian. And due to the fact of it having content about black magic and hexes and stuff, you never play that anymore as a
The
Christian.
Conjuring?
Yeah.
Yeah, we play it.
All right, but did you rewrite the lyrics to it?
No.
Oh, wow. There was a point when I understood that you wouldn't play it.
Yes.
And
That was because I wasn't sure about what effects the lyrics would have on our young fans, and I didn't want to mislead anybody.
right.
I wanted to make sure if I was singing something and they gave it any kind of importance that I wasn't inadvertently making a decision for them and they were saying something that was going to possibly hurt them in some way or form,
Right. Wow, that's so that you ultimately decided that wasn't a concern.
It is a concern, and the structure of the song did not have in it what I thought was in there. There's nothing misleading in there, and after extensive evaluation with it, a lot of thought, a lot of navel gazing and prayer and stuff. I figured, that's it's okay to do this one now. Anarchy, I don't do that one.
Anarchy in the USA.
Because it says I'm an antichrist, and I'm not an antichrist. So we did that over in it is Donington, over in Download. For people that have been in the business long enough, it used to be called Donington. But anyway, so Nikki Sixx was there, and I just, I looked at him, and for some reason I just felt that I needed to just bury the hatchet with him for something, and I don't know what it was, but just something made me feel like I needed to just make things cool, not that I need his approval or anything like that, and not that he cares about me at all, but I just felt like maybe there was something out there that I did. And I remember that we had a guy in our band that had a shirt with Nicky's face on it with a red line and a circle through it.
Uh-oh.
And so I'm glad that I did make that amends with Nicky, although it wasn't like a ninth step or anything like
Right.
that, because I'm not in the program. But I'd gone up to him and said, "Hey, man, would you be interested in playing Anarchy with us tonight?" So the last time I played it was with Nicky at Download, and it was fun. I don't think anybody expected to see that.
Right.
I certainly wouldn't have expected that. If young Dave would have talked to old Dave, I would have said, "You're out of your fucking tree, Mustaine."
That's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
And I think that, whether in the program or not, there's a lot to be said for cleaning up your own side of the street.
Sure is.
Yeah. The tour that you were just on, quite a hell of a light display.
Oh, thanks.
The whole stage set, the whole production seemed to be reasonably massive.
Thanks.
How many trucks and buses were involved in that?
Let's see. 5 trucks, 3 buses. Not a lot.
Okay.
Not a lot.
For a guy who only needs a microphone, this seems like a lot. But how many employees were involved in the tour?
On my crew, there's 13, and then there's 4 band guys, and then the lights and sound companies provide their own crews, so those aren't my responsibility. But I think the whole tour has around 60 men and women on there. There's about 4 or 5 women, and the rest are men, and about 60 people.
It's amazing. With you said that you don't you rent the bus.
Right.
Have you ever thought about buying a bus?
No.
No.
There's no point. Unless you buy it brand new, and then who's going to want to eat that depreciation? Not me. I would want to buy a used bus, but then who wants to buy a used bus? Most people know what goes on in there. Have a giant condom on wheels.
That's amazing. I know Scott is over here probably dying to ask what you have on your rider.
Wow, I wasn't even going to ask. Thought about it, but I wasn't going to ask. Yeah, back in the heyday or even now, what are some must-haves for every show for you guys?
That's a long answer.
Okay.
That's a really long answer. Must-haves.
Well, I mean, do you have a rider where you demand that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the album sleeve for Maiden's Live After Death. They had stats for the Power Slave World Tour with how many this and that, and it was pretty extensive, pretty impressive.
Yeah, we put stuff like that on the jackets for people to have something to read while they're listening.
Yeah,
So our rider doesn't have any brown M&Ms, if that's what you're talking about. It's pretty straightforward. We don't have any hard liquor on our part of the rider for the band rider. Band rider has a couple bottles of wine. There is beer and liquor for the crew, but that's not our rider. Mm-hmm. We have, one thing is Fruit Loops with marshmallows, because most of the other cereals that are out on the road are, they'll go get stuff from a health food store because the other guys are all vegan and stuff like that. And they'll come in with possum puffs. It's like, fucking possum puffs, man. I don't want no fucking possum puffs. So that's it's important to have the
Fruit Loops with marshmallows is the gold
yeah,
standard.
Yeah. Back in the 80s, it would have been Fruit Loops with mushrooms. Seems to be quite a new thing here with the young people doing what are they calling it? Microdosing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chocolates.
We've got our main editor is a fan of the microdosing.
Yeah.
That's
That's what you and I call shrooming, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's
They don't eat enough to like trip. They just feel good. Go to the gym.
yeah.
Eat,
It sounds to me like the dreaded underdose.
Yeah, like, hey, man. Hey,
Yeah.
hey. Come here.
Can I have some more, please?
Come here.
That was I heard somebody say that, like, you ever worry about overdosing? No, my only concern was the underdose.
Yeah. Do you remember Jimmy Bain?
I don't.
Okay, never mind. You should, because he was the bass player on the Dio tour you went to go see.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, that I should.
Mm-hmm.
And God, man, with Ronnie James Dio, what a wonderful person he was.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
Just fantastic, man.
Yep.
I was very upset with Jack Black's song about Dio.
What is it?
There's a song that on a Tenacious D album. It says, Dio, you're too old to rock. No more rocking for you. And it was like a comedy, like it's sort of having a laugh. And, Dio, gotta go. Like, and I just felt very offended that this seemed, I mean, it's in tongue-in-cheek and for sure comedy, but don't disparage my Ronnie James Dio.
And there's some guy that are, they're untouchable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't. And to be fair, it was many years before his passing, so he was very much alive, and
Yeah.
for all I know, he got a kick out of it. And
Well, Jack is a comedian, and comedians, that's what they do. They try and get a rise out of people.
yeah, it's hard to be mad at Jack Black, but
Yeah.
yeah. What do you have a fitness sort of health regimen? I mean, to hear you say that you're eating Fruit Loops with marshmallows, it feels counterintuitive. Do you have an exercise regimen to burn all those calories?
Yeah, I'm that close to my black belt in jiu-jitsu.
That's right.
It's
Purple at the moment.
No, brown. It'll be my fourth black belt. So I've been training since I was 12, and my regiment is whatever the fuck I want.
I love it. I love it. So, jiu-jitsu. What are the other martial arts?
Karate. I have a first degree in karate, a first degree in taekwondo, and then a fourth degree in taekwondo from another organization in Korea. I'm their Goodwill ambassador. So this will be with Gracie. It'll be my first degree with them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of UFC fighting?
Yeah, I love Dana. I think he's one of the good guys that he took a sport that had a need to cradle these guys, that are out there. They have skills when it comes down to being a pugilist, but other than that, they come from really hard origins and a couple of really good purses, and their life changes. So I love that, seeing people be able to get out of the gutter.
Yeah. It's just unbelievable what they've done for the sport. I mean, when they bought
How
it.
did you find that?
He finds everything.
Yeah.
Which picture are you referring to?
We've got Isaac over here bringing up images of Dave here with his. These are your instructors
Yeah, some of them.
in the gi. Is that a gi?
Yeah.
All right. Do you watch a lot of the UFC events?
I've gone to several,
Yeah,
and I watch them when it's a good card.
yeah. I always think it's a good card. I'm a lunatic for
UFC.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I can't get enough of it. John Jones and Stipe coming up. That's a good card.
I want to see the Tyson fight.
Okay, Tyson and Jake Paul
Yeah, that's what I want to see. I love Tyson.
for sure.
I mean, there's something about him back when he did what he did that made him real easy to hate. But I guess given enough time and him making restitution, just the thought of him fighting again, it almost, in my mind, it doesn't block it out, because I'm sure when it was occurring that's the last thing anybody thought was that it wasn't happening. But I watch him train and I just think, God, that is a specimen.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yeah.
that is one of the best there ever is going to be. I used to watch Muhammad Ali fight when I was a kid on Wild World of Sports, so I've seen him. I've seen him fight. I've seen him fight Larry Holmes, Joe Frazier. I've seen Tommy Hearns, all those guys, all the greats, Macho Camacho, Roberto Diaz, all those guys.
Roberto Diaz was the Hands of Stone.
Stone, yeah, Hands of Stone. He was great. Yeah, I used to love that stuff. I didn't really like the wrestling stuff very much. I thought that was kind
Yeah,
of a bit
yeah. I mean the
hard to believe.
the physicality of it,
Of wrestling?
of wrestling, it's impressive. But
Yeah, it is athletic. I know that for sure. But for me, I had been brought up in a world of sports as a young kid that there's always something. That's a dog down here snoring. That was not me blowing my hole.
That's yeah. Moonpie's not a fan of wrestling.
Yeah, well,
The
she made that
storylines are a
clear.
little much for her.
She made that clear.
I've had the pleasure to know Maynard James Keenan of Tool and Perfect Circle and
Yeah.
Lucifer. He's a huge practitioner of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
as
no.
well. I don't know what belt level he's at, but I wonder if you ever rolled around with him.
I have not, but I know that he started long before I did in Gracie, so he's probably already a black belt. He's probably a second or third degree by now too, because once you become a black belt, after that, it's time that you train under a black belt. You know, the whole thing with the belts, there were never any colors. It was just a belt you put on. It was white, and over time it would get dirty.
Oh, wow.
So it would go from white to yellow when it was starting to smell like ass. And
That's
then
amazing.
over time it would get blood and dirt all over it, and it would look black.
Yeah, I can see how it goes from brown on the way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a piece of information that I really, really enjoyed. So you know Maynard?
I know who he is. We did tour together, did not spend a lot of time together.
Yeah. I just think he's so fucking awesome, man. I'm such a fan of him and all of his bands. Yeah, man. So what is an important message that we can send out to people on your behalf? I did an interview with Mike Tyson one time on his hot boxing podcast, and he said, you know, like, what do you want to tell that camera that that you feel the whole world needs to know? And I was inspired by that, and I'm borrowing it from him.
What did he say?
No, he asked me that.
What did you say?
And I think that I would imagine that I would have said that the meaning of life is to find meaning, to find something that you're so passionate about that that you're on fire for it, and that when you pursue it, you are giving meaning to your life. The meaning of life is to pick one.
For those of us in the past that were challenged by those of us in the future, was that a Kamala moment there?
Nah, I don't know about that. You know, like I'm a big fan of the word enthusiasm.
Yeah.
It broken down to its original roots from wherever it came from. You've got entheos, which means with God, from which I derive the conclusion that when you're passionate about what you're doing, you are doing God's work.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And I think that everybody, if I have a message for everybody, it's to find that passion and pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that is that's your relationship with God, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my message would be: don't take shit from anyone.
I love it. Don't take shit from anyone.
Ever.
Vinny's over here. Yeah, good, man. Well, I don't know that we can do better than that. I think I've stumbled over myself. I think I've embarrassed myself. I think that I've been, it's been tremendously exciting to come and do this with you again.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's been very hospitable having your ball warmer get on top of me from the beginning. Thanks, Moon Pie.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of you and your art.
Oh, thanks.
And you're just a goddamn legend, and it means the world to me that you let us come here and do this with you. So thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Hell yeah, brother.
Anytime now, you know I live. Thanks, God.
Yeah, we'll be here tomorrow.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah.
Was Dave Mustaine rad or what? And is this new RV rad or what? I mean, this has just got me so super duper stoked. And I'm waiting to show off like the whole thing, like the outside, because I don't want to show off the whole thing, the outside, until it's been taken to this place called U-Joint Off-Road, where it's getting lifted and converted to a 4x4 off-roading, overlanding ass kicker. Ugh. I mean, dude, losing my mind over this thing. I love RVs, and I love you for sticking around to the end of the episode. And we've recorded this episode today. We were at Dave Mustaine's house today. And, man, just had to put it out right away. I mean, super stoked. Plus, tomorrow's, well, now Thursday. So Thursday, tomorrow, is Friday, first show in Bowling Green of this next run of shows on my Super Dummy tour. Man, I hope you guys all come and see this show because it is hilarious. And I'm saying that myself, but it's really fucking funny. So I'll see you on the road. I love you. Thank you for sticking around. And, man, Dave Mustaine, that was epic. Yeah. Hey, everybody. The ride just gets wilder and wilder. And this week, we have got a legend of big wave surfing and just all around badassery. So, let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, Laird Hamilton. Yeah, dude. I want you to meet my co-host, Scott Randolph.
How you doing?
Hi, Scott. Aloha.
Aloha.
And coming from off camera for you, the gorgeous Paul Brisske.
Aloha,
Okay,
Laird.
all right, Paul.
How you doing?
Speed and take chances.
Yeah, dude. It's an honor to have you, man. Thank you for doing this. And I can proudly tell you that I do not believe there is a single one of these podcasts where I have not been drinking coffee, which was chock full of your Laird Hamilton superfood creamer.
Well, I'll send you a case. I send you one anyway, but we'll get you a case of that stuff.
Dude, we go through it at such an alarming rate. And Countless friends of mine, our buddy Tommy hadn't drank.
Yeah, he relapsed off coffee after like 5 years because of it.
Yeah. Right. We got everybody
That's
back
not a bad thing. That's
Yeah.
not a bad thing. If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do it, do it right. You know.
Oh, dude.
So we got to get you this machine. I have a machine that makes everything. You just push the button. It's kind of good and bad. It makes a perfect cup, but it makes it a little too convenient.
Okay.
So you just have coffee all day. That's the secret.
Yeah. You just never need to eat or anything.
Dude, I think I need that really badly because I have like, I don't even know if it's a growing tolerance, but I just have a progressing addiction where I pile in
More coffee.
more and more of this layered creamer.
I know.
Like it can't be healthy. Like how much of it I'm consuming. I dump it in until I'm thinking like, oh God, and then I dump a little more. I love it.
How'd you come up with that?
I want to just tell you congratulations for being alive.
Thank you, man. It's a big deal.
Yeah, you've done a good job. You survived to a point where you're actually sitting down with a remote control. Because that's good.
Oh, dude, it's huge,
honorable.
man.
It's an honorable deed. It's a tough journey down here. Hard to.
Oh, man, I appreciate that so much, man.
I mean it.
Yeah, life is really good, dude. I never would have thought that I would be alive past 30. I never expected to make it to 30. But if you asked me at any point, like, what would life look like for you at age 46? I would just probably get bummed out. And here I am thriving. It's really killer, man. How old are you?
I'm 56, so I got you by 10. I got 10 on you.
I mean, it's inspiring. It's good to have people like that to look up to.
Yeah, dude, it's unbelievable. I've always said that before I got sober, Tommy Lee was my little buffer zone. I thought if he's still partying, then I've got 10 more years in me. And then I got sober and I started looking to Tony Hawk. If Tony Hawk's still getting rad, then I got 7 more years in me, 6 more years. But dude, like you're totally getting rad, right? Like
best I can. Best the truth is that you to really continue to be able to push stuff, you got to be healthy. You got to be straight. You just got to be.
Yeah.
You have to be sober to really deal, especially now with all the stuff going on. I mean, being in this world right now, if in not a clear state, that would be rough. I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that.
I've gotten really into ice baths and saunas, and I can totally tell the difference, after I do them. But when did you start doing ice baths, or when did the light bulb go off for you that like it's pretty important?
I was exposed to a couple of people when I was younger. Like one guy was a sauna, just a sauna freak, and he would just live in the sauna, and he had some health issues, but it was like the thing that was keeping him kind of going. And he would do eucalyptus and all kinds of oils and do that. So I was exposed to that. And then a hockey player friend of mine, this guy, Chris Chelios, he was into sauna, and he attributed that to like a career thing. And then I always liked cold water. Like I'd be in Europe somewhere in the French Alps, and it'd be like a giant river, and I just strip down and go jump in the, of course, everybody thinks you're crazy, but you just always felt like alive. You come in that cold water and you just get lit up. And so I knew kind of intuitively that those environments were healthy. And then probably the last, I don't know, we're going on probably 15 years of a good solid 10 years of being in, consistent ice tubs. And I mean, when you surf, you're in cold water, and you're, I tell people, I go, listen, if you're in your surf shorts and you're in Hawaii and you surf for 6 or 8 hours and it's a cold winter day, I mean, you're as cold as you are in a cold place with a wetsuit on. Like you could be colder just because of that. So I think it's been a kind of a part of my life, but not so just judiciously. I mean, we live with that stuff. Or I'm sauning multiple times a day. I incorporate ice and sauna in my training. It's a part of your life, because you just start to feel like you just don't feel right. You kind of go, oh, what's up? I just feel dirty. And then you go take a sauna and do an ice, and you're like, oh yeah, back to the equilibrium.
Man, I got to get on board.
Dude, it's a game changer. You're doing it every day?
I do, ice. I mean, ice is a little less inviting, and if you're tired, it kind of hammers you. But I'll wake up early and do a sauna. Like like today, I was in there at like 4:35 a.m. and get hot. And, you know, like people talk about warming up, it just takes any stiffness out of you. So you get real loose.
Mm-hmm.
And then just that, you know, and then I'll do them at night. It affects your sleep a lot as well. So I'm doing a sauna and probably ice 5 times a week, and sauna is almost every day. I mean, I'm in those things, and then I'll do both. Sometimes I'll just do, like on Sunday, I'll go back and forth between the two and do contrast. But, you know, there's a statistic that reduction, and you'll appreciate this, reduction in Alzheimer's and dementia by 65% if you do a sauna 3 to 5 times a week.
Wow.
And my favorite one is reduction in all cause mortality. I thought you might like that word. That's one of my favorite words. All cause mortality, which means any way you can die is reduced by 40%. So you reduce 40% reduction in any way you can die. I'm not sure how that works out, but you know, sauna 3 to 5 times the sauna 3 to 5 times a week. That's but then there's all the science behind it. They're doing it for depression. So people they're doing a study on clinically depressed people, and they're running them through a protocol of sauna. And you know, I have friends that had some depression issues, and they start doing ice tubs 3 times a week, and they're like, depression has gone away. You know, so
wow. It's like if you're clinically depressed and like you take an ice bath, it's like, you know, you ask them if they're depressed, they're like, what? Like you know, it'd be hard to be depressed coming out of an ice bath.
I could probably pull it off. So you said that you were in the French Alps, and I just couldn't help but be curious. What would bring you to the French Alps? Is that surfing?
No, snowboard. Well, obviously not the ocean. No ocean there, but snowboarding. You know, I was in Europe, and I was there for windsurfing, and some crazy French guys told me, hey, you know, we want to take you up because they heard that I like to do, you know,
helicopter skiing,
dangerous stuff. So then they're like, okay, well, we'll take you to the French Alps. And I think it was like my 3rd day or something. They were sending me off of down some giant run. And I'm looking down like, where do you even go? And the French guys are just, yeah, you just go straight. And I'm going, well, then what? And he goes, well, you just keep going straight. And I'm like, so you just go straight the whole way? And I'm like, sure, I'll do it. And just, you know, you can relate.
Yeah, that's crazy. That makes me think of Tony Hawk was telling us about being with you on some big waves, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Or you took Tony out like tow and surfing or something with him and his brother.
Him and his brother. Yeah. Him and his brother.
It's crazy because you, with the snowboard guys, is probably the equivalent of Tony with you, right? Like,
yeah. You're just a victim to him. You just hope that the guys you're with are going to be nice to you. You know what I mean? Because you don't know. Because there might be like, hey, this guy thinks he knows what he's doing over here. Let's, you know, subject him to like a cliff or something. So you're kind of like, hey, you know, like, are these guys going to try to send me into the wolves or?
Yeah. It's like when you're in turbulence and you see a flight attendant and like her face is straight and you're like, okay, I'm cool. You know, It's like people probably look to you when they're surfing Jaws or something like that.
Yeah, except for like in that case, if the plane goes down, you're both in the same situation. In this case, it's like Tony drowns, Laird's fine.
Plus, if Laird's not scared, that's not necessarily indicative that you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's like Manny, the shark guy. You know, like if he says it's cool, that doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
What is cool, right?
Yes. Now, speaking of Tony and surfing, I'm proud to tell you that yesterday I rode out of my first barrel. First time I ever rode out of a barrel, and at Kelly Slater's Surf Ranch with Tony.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Scott got the trophy for the wave of the day.
Yeah, they gave it to me in part because when I rode past them, I was brushing my mustache. You know, I figured that would get some points.
If you were that relaxed that you were concerned about your mustache, you must have been.
Yeah, I didn't want to get it wet.
He was stroking his lip sweater. Yeah,
they
dude.
say those things are dirty, but I won't go there.
Yeah, dude. So now with the superfood creamer, how long has that been going on?
We're 5 years in right now. So that's been 5 years, and we just actually went public this year. So we went public. So we're on the which who would ever thought? You know, it's kind of like, I bet you in your life you never thought you could do all the things you did
Sure.
and be sitting where you are. So
Right.
it's a little bit of that, you know, it's a little bit of, you know, some fairy dust along the way, I would imagine, you know, you can
No
relate to
doubt.
that.
Yeah,
Where
for
you-
sure. The angels are helping
Yeah.
out. The first thing I thought when you said that was, shit, I should fucking invest. You know, it's crazy because there was I think only one episode of this podcast was actually sponsored by Laird Superfood Creamer. And, you know, I demonstrated how much I pour into a cup, like embarrassingly even, because that's like literally how I do it. But, you know, there was a bunch of, packages that came where they just supplied it to us. And honestly, candidly, I buy that shit on my own without it being sent to me, and they carry it at my local CVS. And I routinely go in there and get fucking 10 big bags of it at once and just burn through them. It's crazy.
Well, we got to get you on the. I mean, I think the cool thing too is about the company is that we're kind of doing it a little bit modern because a lot of it's online. So
Sure.
a lot of what we do is online, and you have subscription. So people sign up and they just have, you know, that box that you buy, that thing just shows up like every 2 weeks or something, right? When
great.
they're going to run out. So
It's
that's a good thing. The friend of mine, because we started it, you know, somebody goes, oh, especially athletes, they're always like, well, how'd those guys find you and the whole thing? And I'm like, yeah, it wasn't really like that. It was like I was making these coffees and then I shared it with a buddy of mine, and he was like, hey, this stuff's incredible. What are you putting in here? I gave him the ingredients, and then he made like a couple prototypes. He made like a three or four different powdered versions, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, that's the original creamer. So like it was pretty, you know, like I said, it wasn't I've done some things where you really thought about it and had made a real plan, and they flopped like, you know, like a fish. And then this one was a little bit like, it wasn't a plan, it wasn't anything tricky. Fortunately, the guy that I was sharing it with was like a, you know, startup expert. So he had been through a bunch of things. In fact, him and I were working on that electric skateboard that we had for golf. So we had that electric golf board, and he helped us with that company. And then he tried the coffee, and he was like, oh, that stuff's awesome. What are you putting in it? And then that's where Superfood came out of.
And when it was that original batch that you were making, what were you putting in there?
Speaking of putting things in, here we are on a big old tour bus, which I rented for my crew to go on a secret mission. And they got it all in here. 6 beds, huge kitchen with a stove, oven, microwave, big old fridge. But you know what they didn't put in here? A bidet from hellotushy.com. And I'm telling you, it's my favorite product I've ever promoted on this podcast. When I get done taking a big old sloppy dump, I really love to be able to twist the knob for that refreshing, adjustable stream, which blasts my butthole nice and clean. Yeah, dude. I mean, I love road trips. Just hate being away from my Hello Tushy. And if you don't have one, then you don't know what I'm talking about. And it's time for you to get it, because I don't throw around my favorite at all. I've only ever said it about hellotushy.com. So go to hellotushy.com/Stevo for 10% off your order and free shipping. Again, you are crazy if you haven't tried this yet. So support the podcast, support your butthole, and go to hellotushy.com/Stevo for 10% off your order and free shipping. Now, let's find out what goes in.
I never liked, there's a guy named Paul Check, who you guys may or may not know of, and he's the guy that used to mend Danny Way when he put Danny Way back together.
Oh, yeah, he
Every
told
time
us about
Danny Way
him,
would
actually.
break. So every time
the
Danny Way would
Hawaiian
break,
guy.
he
No, the
put
guy
him
back in San
together,
Diego.
send him
Yeah.
out, you know. So Paul Check and I, Paul was an espresso lover. Him and I were drinking ghee. We were using ghee and espresso. We were doing that probably, I want to say 15 or 20 years ago. I because of my French habits, red wine was one of them, but espresso was another. So I've been a coffee fanatic, and then I started putting ghee in it. And then the guys were talking about butter, and I'm like, well, what's the difference between cream and butter and ghee? And then coconut oil. So everything was all whole food based. So my original recipe was coconut oil and some other oils from some other palm stuff. And I made, like I said, I had a concoction that I would make that I'd put different things in. We were putting some minerals in, or some, we got those performance mushrooms. I was just using coffee as like a platform to put a bunch of good nutrients. And then we started realizing that when you eat food with fat, you absorb more nutrients. And that's why you do stuff like put butter on vegetables and olive oil on a salad. It's all about nutrient absorption. And so the body's getting the brain wants the fat, so the body pulls it in, and then you get the nutrients. So it ended up just being a really great place to start. And plenty of people drink coffee and put a lot of garbage in it. So it was a real opportunity to kind of help people get out of their, all that refined sugar and all that other stuff that's probably better for painting houses. Get that out and get them some real stuff. And so that's really but that was the basis of it. And like I said, I had a recipe because I'd been playing with ghee, and then the Bulletproof guy had the butter one, but we were already using ghee, so we were pretty comfortable with the butter concept. And then coconut oil, being from Hawaii, I drink coconut water and grew up on that stuff. So we were coconut friendly. And it just, like I said, it all kind of came naturally from just stuff that I've been exposed to, and kind of, how it is. It all kind of comes together, and you're like, wow, I didn't think that those things were going to influence that other stuff. But
so great. He says coffee as a platform to like get other stuff. And I thought it's like I use French fries as a shovel for ketchup.
But if you had a really good potato and you were shoveling some really good other things, then that probably wouldn't be that bad. So we're just trying to keep you with your French fries. You can keep your French fries, but let's make the French fries better, and let's make what you're dipping them in better, right?
Yeah. Laird, can you make Laird's superfood ketchup for me? Because that don't
put it past. That's probably. I mean, we're like I said, those are the things that we look for opportunities, right? Because in a way, there's so many things out there that people are consuming that probably aren't bad if we can just get them the quality stuff. It's just that money making has made it so we don't care what we put in it. So we put a bunch of garbage in there, and then we wonder why people aren't feeling well.
Right.
Laird, do you have any vices? Like, I feel like every part of your whole program is just on point. Like, is there anything that
I am a vice, I'm like my wife Gabby always talks about the dog with the bone. Once I get something, I'm just like, I think that's probably, obviously coffee. I look at coffee as probably one of my great vices. That's the thing that I really enjoy. I enjoy it. So, and I believe that if you're doing something every day, it's probably good to try to do it with the highest quality you can. Like, if you're going to, whatever you're doing, if you're going to eat French fries, then make sure the potatoes are good. They're cooked in good stuff. And that, so because you're putting things in your body. That's not the place to try to save money and skimp on ingredients. I think that's right. You can wear ugly shoes. You can wear some bad shoes and get a bad shirt and all that stuff, but stuff you're consuming, toothpaste, soap, just all those stuff that you use every day, because that stuff over time is accumulative, right? You just start to accumulate the negativity or the positivity, from it. So, one of the things that, realize, Steve, is that we put this calcified sea algae in the creamers. So the minerals that you're getting are some of the most bioavailable minerals. And the fact is that most of our food is mineral short. Like, where most of the food that we eat doesn't have the minerals because we don't fertilize like we used to and all that stuff. So in a way, that's all so I'm actually making you healthy.
But wait a second, Laird. I distinctly remember when I was a kid, my Fruity Pebbles said they were fortified with vitamins and minerals.
Yeah, it's just you couldn't absorb any of them. They were putting them in there. They were just going out.
That's funny.
I remember a box of that shit was never big enough. Good.
Oh, man. Captain Crunch, man. I used to get Captain Crunch, and I'd smash it down in the bowl and then pour the milk in there. My mom would come home. There'd be like a half gallon of milk would be gone. She goes, I just bought this yesterday. What happened? I'm like, I had lunch. She's like, what'd you have? Like a whole box of cereal and a half gallon of milk in a salad bowl. That was like,
until the roof of your mouth just couldn't stand one more bite.
It's crazy with the cereals now. You're drinking like it's equivalent to having like 3 Coca-Colas for a couple bowls of cereal.
I know,
the amount of sugar.
It's crazy, man. So, dude, let's talk about surfing, man. Like, are you out there with like? Where are you right now?
I'm in California.
Okay, cool, man.
I'm in Malibu. Yeah.
Nice, dude. And When's the last time you got on some like serious big wave shit?
About a week ago.
Nice.
Where? The last swell that came in?
Up north. I was up north in like Oregon, Washington area. I was traveling up the coast, just looking at some potential waves. You know, we're riding these hydrofoils right now.
Mhm.
So we're riding these hydrofoils, and the hydrofoils are allowing us to ride waves a lot earlier and kind of look at waves differently. So now we're starting to kind of look for waves that are potentially good for hydrofoiling, which aren't necessarily the ones that are optimum for surfing. And most surf spots are kind of crowded. So it's opening it up. I mean, I was in Nazaré last February on the giant swell there. I tried to go to the huge swell that they had in Europe this last couple weeks, but because the French, we won't let the French in, so the French won't let us in. One of those things. I got to the airport, had my stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, sorry, you have a French passport." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't." And so they're like, "Oh, you can't get on the plane." But no, I'm in pursuit. I'm still in pursuit. So you know, and part of it is because I'm doing it a different way. I like the concept of doing things you haven't done before. I think that's interesting.
Well,
So,
for sure. I think
know,
you could take that a step further and say that you like the concept of introducing the world to new ways to do things that have never been done, right? Like, wasn't toe-in surfing like entirely your brainchild?
Yeah, well, it was a buddy. It was my friend. You know, I'm always about credit and whose thing and whose idea. You know, I have a saying that there's nothing new. It's just a new application of an old idea. And in a way, I mean, I think I've been involved with stand-up. I've been involved with foiling. We're involved with kiting. You know, I have some innovations in fitness stuff. I like innovation. I think it's good. I mean, part of it is, and you can relate to this, you know, I don't mind if people laugh at me. I'm good with that. Like, it works. It's cool. Like, I don't care being a kook. I don't care about being a beginner. I know it's only temporary normally. You know, if you do it right once, you probably won't be a beginner. So I'm good with that stuff. I think that's helpful. I think that helps me try new things, because I'm not like, hey, this is what I do, and I only do this, and I don't go outside my, you know, I don't go outside my rails. And I think that's allowed me to kind of, I mean, without toe-in, there, you know, places like Nazaré, which is considered, you know, where the big waves are being ridden right now, wouldn't be happening. And the waves at Chopu and Tahiti wouldn't have been, I mean, the waves that have been ridden because of that technique, you know, are far beyond anything that we were even, you know, that we comprehended. We couldn't believe that they were possible. So that's, you know, and I like that. I like that stuff. I think that for me, that's, it's a pretty fulfilling thing to be able to do that stuff, you know, to be able to, you know, they say there's two kinds of people. One person's fulfilled by beating others, and then another person's fulfilled by accomplishing things. And creative people are fulfilled by accomplishing things, whatever those things are. You can relate. You've done some shit that no one's done, and it feels good. Not because no one's done it, mostly because you haven't. But there is something satisfying about, you know, about accomplishing things, even if they're as, you know, off the wall as they can be.
I think there's probably a good amount of overlap between those two types too. I remember at one point we were in Niagara Falls on tour, and I just like ended up like watching a video about all of the various people, like every single person who deliberately went over Niagara Falls.
Yeah, in a barrel or in
in a barrel. There was a kayak. And I was struck by how it seemed that the success rate for people who really like sort of gave it some thought and did a little bit of homework was pretty high. And I all of a sudden became consumed with the idea of going over Niagara Falls in some kind of contraption. I was reaching out to different people who, what was the
Yeah, I reached out to somebody at JPL.
Yeah, the NASA people, like fucking to make, and I was just going down this rabbit hole, and then my buddy Chris Pontius just ended it in one fucking sentence. He said, "Dude, it's been done." Because we don't do shit that's been done, dude. You know, give it up. And I think that was his way of looking out for me. Of course, at the end of the day, I'm actually such a fucking pussy. I don't think I ever would have done it.
I mean, the first person to ever do that was the girl who went over in a whiskey barrel.
She was 65 years old. She went over in a fucking wooden wine barrel, dude. And
I bet she drank it first. Probably drank the barrel full of wine and then said, "I have this idea. I'll go off the."
Dude, it was like one of the least prepared people, and she comes out fucking at the bottom.
I'm
She
scared.
goes, she says, "Oh, well, that wasn't much fun. I ought not do that again."
Yeah, fuck.
Oh my god! But yeah, so that's like the idea of doing stuff that's never been done is really pretty awesome.
I mean, when you rode Chopu, and it was in that documentary that you guys did. I mean, after you do something like that, I remember, I believe his name is Derek, was saying that, you know, you were on the wagon for a while and you had a beer that night after you did that. I mean, like, are you, we were talking about being depressed earlier, but like after you do something so fucking crazy like that, like it's kind of hard to move the needle for a couple weeks after that, right? When you're coming that close to death. And
Let me tell you something about death-defying acts. You don't wait 2 weeks for another one. You ride wild all the time for life, forever. And you'll wear a whoop strap on your wrist so that you know exactly what is going on with your body. What's a whoop strap? It's just the most sophisticated, awesomest fitness tracking device out there, and it works very simply with an app on your phone, and it tells you exactly how much rest you're getting, what kind of rest you're getting, what kind of activities you're doing, what your heart rate variability is. I mean, I'm telling you, there's nothing out there that will give you more insight into your health and fitness than a whoop strap. And I love it, man. I've been wearing it forever. I don't even ever take it off because the battery slides right onto it to keep it charged. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried this, you're out of your mind. So, let's get you over to whoop.com. That's WHOOP.com. And use the promo code STEVO for 15% off at checkout. I'm telling you, man, if you don't have your Whoop strap on, you are blowing it. Now, go to whoop.com, use the promo code STEVO, 15% off at checkout, and let's talk about defying death.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you get post-traumatic. I mean, I think anytime that you're pushing the edge of or anytime you're riding the line of like surviving or not, you get post-traumatic. But we had already had experience with that just from riding giant surf in general. You go out and have giant waves at Jaws, and you know, and then you come back, and then 2 days later you're a little growly, and then you're like, and you don't feel that good. And then you start becoming aware of it, and then you start learning how to combat it and start going, okay, well, you know, after you do that, you don't indulge yourself in things that are going to make you more depressed. You know, get a massage, go to sleep early, eat good, like start to like nurture the system to help you recover. But post-traumatic is a real thing for anybody pushing the edge whenever you feel like death is present, right? So if you feel like, hey, you know, I could die right now, and you really understand you can, and you feel like that death is there. I mean, you're going to get because everything's going to go on. So the whole system's going to be at max. All your awareness, you know, everything's going to be focused. And after you come down from that, and the body goes, oh, now we're safe. You're just going to be like, you know, you're going to get whacked from it. So
I think there's another sort of perspective on that though too, which is less about the trauma of it and more about like the accomplishment of it. Like say for example, like I think that for Olympic athletes, Olympic hopefuls, that the most like terrible thing that can happen in their life is to actually win the medal. You know, because in a sense, when they hang that medal around your neck, it's almost like this just sense of doom that they've just hung the end of your life around your neck. That at this point now you've peaked, and the whole rest of your life is going to be some fucking downward, like that Man on the Wire documentary. Mm-hmm. Like I think after that he did that incredible like high wire thing with the Empire State Building or whatever, the World Trade Center, and then like after that like it's just shit's over. And I think that's what you're talking about more than the trauma.
But
right?
You know what? But I bet there's there's something in line with what you're saying. There's a piece to that, which is that you think you're going to do that. You think when you do that, all of a sudden the world's going to be different, and then it's the same freaking world. So it's part of it's that too, right? It's like when I win that gold medal, it's going to just take care of all these problems, and then you're like the day after, you're like same problems, and you're like, I didn't. I mean, I could say in my own career that I got to a certain point where like I go, hey, listen, if I can ride the biggest waves, the best, and everything's gonna be cool and it's gonna take care of it all. And then you, I mean, whether you're doing that or not, whether you think you are, whether people say you are, whatever, but you get to a position where you're like something's happening like what you want, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoops, nothing happened. You're like, now what?
Yeah, it's like we were talking about with logic, where like you tell yourself, oh, if I just had this, then I'd be happy, or if I just had a job, or if I could just get abs, then I'd be happy, or if I could, and then you get those things, or you get money, and then you still it didn't fill the void, like you still want more then at that point.
Right.
Well, look at wealth is probably the greatest example of that. People just, if I could just get a bunch of money, and then you see like, wow, most people that have a lot of money are miserable.
Yeah.
Right.
And the people that are trying to survive, they don't have time, first of all, to be miserable, because complaining is a luxury. So if you have enough time to sit around and complain, it's probably because everything's taken care of. So, or at least you're eating and you have a house, and, but it is interesting that, that thing. And then you have to go, I mean, for me in my career, is like a lot of it was like, okay, aggression, like fight your way in and fight your way to the top, and, and aggress your way. Right. And then you get there and then you're like, okay, now I'm here. Now what? And then you're like, oh, well, I can't keep, brewing up that aggression because I don't have it anymore. Like I used it all to get here, and now I'm here, and I'm like, now what? And then you're like, well, actually, no, I really love doing this. This is great. So then you got to change your mind from the mindset of aggressing to pursue into, I'll say, now contentment. This is a new place to start from. I'm in content. And then, but now I'm still want to pursue. So how do you go from aggress and pursue to content and pursue? And then you realize, hey, if you don't love it, that's why your intentions are everything. Why do you do something? You got to love it. Like, I love what I do. And I'll do it until I die, and I'll some form of it. And that's just, and I know that, and I'm good if no one sees me, and and only my friends, and we can do it in hiding. That's wonderful. I'm good. I don't need people going, good job, that was great. I mean, because I truly love it. And so, but along the way, sometimes you wonder, when it becomes a job, then it's a little different. Then all of a sudden you're not doing it when you want, how you want. Pretty soon you're having to go, okay, I got to show up here and do it and deliver, and, expectations. And I mean, it just becomes a whole nother game,
Sure.
It's so crazy that I think when I was a kid, I could safely say that there really wasn't any such thing as an athletic career for athletes over 30 or something, right? Is that about fair to say? Like,
oh yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. Well, like sport, like you're old in basketball if you're 34.
Yeah, like rock stars like weren't over 30. Like athletes weren't over 30. Now it's like, well, fuck, dude. Look at the Rolling Stones. They're 75. And they're rocking.
Yeah.
And look at Laird. So what's like, what do you think is the ceiling on fucking like action sports athletes as far as age goes?
I mean, I listen. I think they did a study about video games, and they said, who's the best at video games? And they were like, well, kids are. And they're like, actually, no, kids aren't. Adults are, that are still excited about video games. And the problem is, when you get to be an adult and you go through the thing, pretty soon you're not excited. So how long can you retain your enthusiasm? When we say retain your youthful enthusiasm, how long can you be stoked and excited about it? That's the harder part. I think that's the part that will come before maybe you are physically, now maybe your stuff's not, when you get to be 50, 60, 70, your bones aren't as flexible, and you're not as loose, and you're not as fearless because you've slapped the ground 80 more times than everybody else. And there's all these other factors, but all of that starts to take away the enthusiasm, right? The
Right.
You being excited. A little kid is just like, I can't wait to do it. And they're just all, and the other guy's like, whatever, I done it, I seen it. And so I think it's more connected to that. I think that we inhibit ourselves. We stop ourselves sooner than actually we're stopped. Everybody wants to be like, oh, I could, they stopped me from doing it. No, you stopped yourself. You just decided you didn't want to do it anymore. So I think that's the hardest part, is to retain being stoked, right? Being excited.
Yeah. Laird is quoting the great John Cougar Mellencamp that the life goes on after the thrill of living is gone. It's the sad truth, man.
A little ditty.
So how is your speaking of smacking the ground? Have you had a million surgeries like Danny Way and Travis Pastrana and?
Yeah, I'm not quite as I probably had more stitches than those guys that weren't surgery, because we're more in the cut game. We get cut a lot. I mean, I have a fake hip now, and that was probably the best surgery I've ever had, because I was awake. I walked out. The thing was like, in month was crazy. 2 months was like I was bionic, and so that. But I've had knee stuff, and like I said, mostly a lot of stitches and a lot of, and I've had a bunch of breaks. I'm not Travis level, like just smacking the ground every time you turn around. These guys are breaking a bone. Danny's the same way.
Yeah.
Danny's, Danny, the same kind of breaks, but I've had a ton of, I've had more than I can count. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
I mean, I attribute injury to really kind of fitness and wellness and being healthy, being more understanding about what it takes to be healthy through injury. Because, I look at injuries like a form of failure, and, you evaluate when you fail. When you succeed, you don't evaluate. If you just keep winning and never get hurt, you never really evaluate. But when you lose, you're like, hey, what did I do? And when you break shit, you're really like, what did I do? Like, what did I do wrong? And how do I get back to be strong? And that's where I think a lot of the training comes in, lifestyle. You start being concerned about, sleeping good and eating good and training hard to recover. But I've been hurt. I have my boards through the face and split heads and bones and compounds. And I mean, I've had all that. I've had all that fun.
I think that we arrived at the conclusion that Danny Way plus Travis Pastrana equals Matt Hoffman.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, it's the nature of the beast, right? That's just the game.
Dude,
That's
Matt Hoffman's the most reconstructed human being ever.
Crazy. We got to get him on here.
Yeah. I know that you do workouts with like where you're holding weights down at the bottom of a pool, or you're doing like a lot of holding your breath, right? Is that for
suffering?
What? Say that again.
I said we like suffering. There's a thing about suffering.
So how long can you hold your breath, and then are you doing that for like big wave surfing in case you get held down? And is there ever enough training for that? If you take a wipeout on a 70-foot wave, are you just like, fuck, I wish I would have done that more when you're underneath tumbling?
Well, so do you know who Hoist Gracie is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Hoist is a friend of mine. Hoist is a friend of mine. We were doing Gabby was doing an interview with him, and Gabby and a woman asked Hoist, and she said, hey, what do you do when the guy has you on the thing and then he's got you in a lock and this and the thing? And Hoist looked at her and just said, well, you just don't ever get there. You never get in that position. You know what I mean? Like, what do you do to survive a 70-foot, wipeout? You just don't wipe out.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't make the mistake to begin with. But I mean, I used to have a thing where I said, don't prepare for what you don't want to have happen, because it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you do all this preparation to be able to take a long hold down, and all of a sudden you're going to have a long hold down. But
the law of attraction.
But the training that we do, I mean, the fact is that you get the most benefit from your training when you go to failure. If you're a weightlifter, you go to you can't lift. You're a runner, you go to you can't run. You're a swimmer, you go to you can't swim. And breath holding has a systemic of a benefit on your body, on your health. Mm-hmm. And so it's all breath related. It's all your ability to absorb oxygen from the air. I mean, there's a bunch of cool stuff, and it's and being comfortable in those moments when you really need to breathe, right? And drowning is one of the like 4 or 5 great kind of I would say, I call it DNA fear. It's like this thing that's internal, like drowning, burning, falling, being eaten by a giant animal. I mean, these are some of the
great
real
motivators.
These are the core fears, right? Like don't piss your wife off, that kind of stuff. But these are core fears, and I think drowning is one of the ones that's really just built into us. So being underwater, the body gets put into these situations. But, the nice thing about the water for us and the training that we do is it makes us better at the water, like being able to swim with big dumbbells or hold your breath for extended periods of time. I always say, people go, how long can you hold your breath? And I go, well, so far long enough. So far I've been able to hold my breath long enough. And it's also about holding your breath under load, because it's one thing to go, hey, I can do, we can do a Wim Hof. I can do an apnea, pranayama, some kind of breath work. I can, you can load up and I can hold my breath for 5-6. I can take in most anybody and get them to do a 5-minute breath hold. But when you're running from a giant dog that's trying to bite you, and then you get to the end of the fence, how long can you hold your breath? And, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, that's like 8, that's 6-7 minutes. I mean, in equivalent. So, holding your breath at maximum heart rate. I mean, we train for that kind of stuff. Being able to swim with weights and deal with that stuff. It just helps you with your comfort but it's good for everybody. I mean, I get SEALs training up here. I get athletes. I get, I got a huge array of people that come and train with us because it's good for everybody. Everybody can benefit. Fighters can benefit from it. I get a bunch of fighters that come. I get just a really broad group of people, and there's no one that doesn't benefit from the water training. And then it's okay, well, now there's no impact. And so you can work harder and you can, it's like, I got basketball buddies that, end up jumping higher. They've been playing for 12 years in the league, and all of a sudden they're, they gain a couple inches on their vertical because of the volume of reps you can do. So there's a bunch of stuff in the training, and we use, in the training, we just do the same thing that we do with everything. We just kind of are exploratory. We just play with stuff and get ideas and, and try to be innovative. Listen, the truth is I get bored easily, and just, you tell me to swim laps in a pool, it's going to be like the orca with the floppy fin. I'm going to be over there in the corner, trying to eat a trainer or something. But, if you say, hey, get this dumbbell and swim it over there. And then when you get there, jump up and down a few times. And, Gabby and I did a drill yesterday where we were doing these things called gorillas, where you have 2 dumbbells and you do it's almost like a squat press jump thing. And then we do that, do as many as you can on one breath hold, and then swim back and forth. It's working, it works. And it's beneficial for everybody, but it definitely does affect the way you are in the water, your comfort when you're, if you do make a mistake and you're at the bottom of the ocean, you have a comfort of being okay there because you've been there before.
Right. You're not going to panic.
You're good with it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have as part of being healthy, like a meditation practice, yoga, like spiritual stuff?
Well, I do breath work. I do breath work. Some of that's meditation. Most of my meditation is more active, so it's more like active. I'm more into flow state. When you think about my spiritual practice, it's flow state. My relationship with nature. I have a pretty intense relationship with nature.
Yeah, you do.
I talk to the hawks. They talk to me, and I'm here. The hawks are circling. We're communicating. I come out in the morning. The hawk's standing on the pole looking at me. I look at him. I go, hey, good morning.
I have no trouble believing that.
Yeah.
I think that's the extent of my spirituality has a lot to do with my relationship with nature. Like my time in the ocean, my awareness of nature and being in it. And and the sun. I do solar gazing in the morning a lot of times. In the evening, I'm breath work. It's just all part of and I think the heat, the ice, all that stuff is in there. Is in that practice. I think it's kind of included.
You ever gotten in the ice with Wim Hof?
Absolutely. Yeah, Wim and I are like this. I had Wim over in the early days when I first started icing. It was funny because I was reading the book, The Iceman. And then one day, like Wim Hof comes over and I go, oh, Gab, Wim Hof is coming over. And she's like, Wim Hof, the guy you're reading about the book? I go, yeah, he's on his way over. She's like, are you crazy? So Wim came, and Wim and I, I got Wim in the pool and doing some swimming and started playing in the ice a little bit and did some breath work with Wim. That was great. That was nice. I've been, I really appreciate breath work. I think breath work is probably where you're going to get some of the most kind of powerful spiritual transformations. You're going to definitely breath and spirit. I think breath and spirit are together. Obviously, when when a baby cries, when takes its first breath, I think the spirit possesses him. And normally in normal death, when you stop breathing, the spirit leaves. And when people have out of bodies and stuff, I think it's related to breath. So breath work works for meditation and your spirituality as well.
Are you into yoga?
Yeah, I've done yoga over the years. I kind of dabble in it. Like lately, my routine, I probably haven't done enough of yoga, but I do yoga. Like I said, I kind of have a tendency to kind of go through moments. Like I'm into yoga, and then I'm into, some other kind of cardio stuff. And, I'm just doing different practices at different times.
How about cycling?
Huh?
How about bicycle?
Bicycle? Yeah, I do stand up. So I have a bicycles without seats, and you stand on them, and then we just do hill climbs and stuff. Just because the biking posture is pretty hard on you. So there's a bike called an elliptigo. You can see them; they're seatless.
Yeah.
And we stand on them. They're harder, and you got better posture. But I did the Race Across America. I've done a bunch of brutal long distance bike stuff, and posture's hard on you. The positioning's hard on the bike.
Are people studying you like scientifically? Like, do you check in like blood work once a month?
The mental ward. I go to the mental ward.
No, but I mean, like, you're doing all this incredible stuff for your physical fitness. Like, is anyone kind of checking in monthly or yearly, like blood work or anything like that to sort of research
I do some blood work. I just went and did a pretty elaborate heart thing just because a friend of mine who's an incredible physician just said, hey, I'm 56. He's like, oh, normally at 55, guys go and just look at their heart. And I'm like, sure, I'll go. And so I went, I did 2 days of heart assessment and, and did everything. They did every single different, eco, keiko, lico, every different one they could do on me, and some stress stuff and a bunch of stuff. And then the doctor just said, yeah, he goes, I don't know what you're doing, but just keep doing whatever you're doing. So I'm like, good news. That sounds good.
Beautiful.
Right. I mean,
hard to stop that. But
to hear Joe Rogan describe you is it's like he's talking about a superhero. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's generous. He's generous. I listen. I'm like everybody else. I think it's just a matter of I think it's just a habit. Just creating habits. It's just, what do you want to do? And I know that unless I'm moving consistently, I'm not as good a person as I can be. I'm a better person when I do these things. I'm just better for my family. I'm better for my friends. I'm better for myself. Yeah. Food tastes better. Everything's better. Everything's just better when I do it. And when I don't. And so, that's how I, and I have a tendency to just ramp stuff like, hey, if 200 is good, then 220 is good. And if 220 is good, then 240 is. And if 240 is great, I just sent Joe a video just the other day because we were laughing. On the sauna, we got this one dial, and the one we have only goes to 250. And I sent him one a couple months ago. I was like, oh, yeah, the problem with this dial, it only goes to 250. So then I found a new dial, and it goes to 270. And so I got the thing to 270. And I'm like, yeah, now we're at 270.
How long are you staying in there for 270? I don't know if
always more is better, but that seems to be my, that's motto. My thing. My hey, if a 5-foot wave's good, then a 10-foot wave's got to be better. And if a 10-foot wave's good, then it's got to be
my dad raised me with the motto: if a little's good, a lot's better.
There's always that.
That's my approach with your creamer.
It depends on what you're talking about, actually. But
Is there anything you do on a daily basis, like a routine that you have to do? Like, are there 5 things that you're like, fuck, I'm off if I don't do that?
Yeah, put the dishes away.
Yeah, then you're in trouble.
No, just for my own mindset.
Oh, really?
Just for my, in the morning when I get up, I have a couple little routine, habitual things I do. I always like super hot showers, first thing in the morning. First thing I do is just get into a super, probably the fish in me, need to wet the gills. But I really, putting the dishes away is a big thing. Like if there's no dishes to put away, I kind of feel like I feel off. like the night before all the dinner stuff, I'll put everything away because it's task completion. There's a task completion. I heard you probably heard the speech from the general talking about how, why the military guys make their beds. And it's,
I heard that.
What the idea, and it's all about task completion so that you've done one thing and completed it, and it allows you to go on. And so there's something about that I like. There's certain things that I do that are task completion. Like you just gone through, you did it. And then it's like, okay, now I've done that. And that kind of sets you up to complete other tasks. And so that's a piece of it. There's an organization that I like to do this. And it's a little ritualistic, it's a little ritual.
Yeah.
It's like, and I like shit to be in their right place too. It's like, okay, that way, it's everything's in its right spot.
It makes perfect sense what you just said though. Cause like if I have a day where like, I'm like going to run in the morning, but then I talk myself out of it when I wake up, that whole day, like I'm not getting anything done because I'm just, then
you're going to be mad at yourself. Then you're going to be like, well, who am I that I can't, my mom said one thing to me, and that's probably one of the greatest things that she ever said amongst all the great things she said to me. But she said, if you can't be true to yourself, you can't be true to anybody else. And there's nothing like telling yourself, hey, yeah, I'm going to go for a run. Then you get up and you don't do it. Then you just like,
I know.
You just suck. You're like, I suck.
Yep. Yeah. It's just shame.
Dude, I got to tell myself I did that last night. I was going to go on a bike ride.
You didn't.
And I fucking didn't.
You bought all the stuff for a bike ride, but you didn't go on a bike ride.
Yeah, dude, it's the worst. Hey, so do you have animals?
Yeah, I got a pup. I've always had male dogs with balls.
Nice.
So I have male dogs with balls, and I know people talk about, hey, what are they for? And I'm like, it's good for the ligaments. That's what my friend told me. He's a doctor. He goes, yeah, the dogs, when they retain their testicles, is good for their ligaments. The ligaments it makes sense that the balls would be connected to the ligaments, but yeah, no, I grew up around dogs. I grew up around hunting dogs, and we always had a pet. I had a pet dog when I was a little kid, and I've had Rhodesian Ridgebacks were my favorite for a long time. And then I had combo Rhodesian Rottweiler mixes. And now the latest breed, the last two dogs I have these rat terriers, and the rat terriers are pretty amazing. Dogs, but yeah, man, we've been with dogs for 30,000 years. We have the relationship that we have. They say our brains changed and their brains changed because they didn't have to hunt as well, and we didn't have to be as aware. So, if anybody doesn't like dogs, I always kind of side eye them. I'm like, hey, what's this guy? What's this guy's?
It's true.
Yeah, we have a type of dog that we like. It's a street dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in Hawaii, poi dog.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, it's the poi dog, which means it's just mixed. Every different kind of dog all in one. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Do you have, of course you've got the superfood creamer, but do you have like other product lines that I might not be aware of?
You mean the superfood stuff? Well, I have XPT, which is our health and wellness, like a fitness brand that we have all kinds of apps. But in superfood, yeah, we have a whole like daily ritual. So we have this thing of daily ritual, which is like wake up in the morning, get hydrated, then have your coffee and your creamers. Then we have like other products. We have an incredible plant-based protein powder right now that's just no indigestion or anything from it. And then we have like a before the bed, go to sleep at night stuff. So we have a whole, and a bunch of other ones. We have about 35 or 40 about 30 right now, 30 something SKUs in superfood.
So what's the official website to find all of that?
It's on Laird Superfood, lairdsuperfood.com. They have everything. It's all there. And then, like you said, CVS, and we've launched a new liquid. We have a line of liquid creamers that we launched in Whole Foods Global. So it's every Whole Foods has it right now. And then Sprouts, I think, is also carrying it. A couple other stores. Dude. So the liquids actually, that stuff's not even legal. It's crazy. That stuff's good. But I'm the powder. I've been on the, I use this stuff. I can't have enough of it. I'm like I'm out every week. I'm like, how come the cupboard's out? It's like, but yeah, but I like the turmeric. I'm a lover of turmeric because it's it's the I like the flavor, but it's also, I know it's anti-inflammatory, so super good for
It's
blood.
good. I like the flavor of the turmeric, but you got to be extra careful because if you spill it on the counter, that gets yeah.
It's over. It's over.
Well, it's okay if your counter's orange, it's cool. Like if you have an orange counter, it's no problem.
Right. And I have a bone to pick with CVS because they never have the cacao flavor.
Yeah,
cacao flavor is the best fucking flavor.
Yeah.
They gotta get their act together, man. Stock that shit.
Well, yeah, you just might have to bypass and send you a case. So
yeah, I get mine on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Amazon's got everything.
All right, well, there you go. Dude, talk about promoting Laird shit. I love it, man.
For sure.
It's the best. I was like a black coffee purist, like elitist. I was like, if someone put cream in their coffee, I sort of judged them. But now your coffee or your creamer, like my coffee doesn't taste right without it. I really mean that. Like it's so good.
Well, I have some news. We just had one of our kind of latest innovation is that because I know that there's black coffee lovers, and so we have some infused grounds that we're doing that have like for focus, a focus one, and we have a mushroom infused one. So you can still drink your black one, but I have a feeling once you use the creamer, it's
he doesn't want it anymore.
You don't realize there's a whole thing about the way you absorb the caffeine because of the fat. So it's actually all the products are all function based. So there's a function behind every one of them. It's not just like, yeah, this tastes great and have it. There's actually functional aspects to the products. And so, yeah, the great thing is, I think after being an athlete and being sponsored for, my first kind of relationships with being sponsored and stuff was when I was 16. So you're looking at 40 years of sponsors, and when the industries were up and when the industries were down, and which brands and what products will you align yourself with, all of that stuff. It's amazing. And the evolution, I was like, one day it'd be nice to, be your own sponsor, right? That would be the apex.
Yeah.
Right? First, but the truth is that of all, the fact is that it feels unbelievably great because I know what these products are, and it's not like, hey, drink this trash, but it's super good. You'll love it. Like, because they're paying you kind of thing. And that's why I have a remorseless drive to promote the stuff because I know it's unreal. The stuff's awesome. I use it every day. And so it's like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, you can relate to that. Like, hey, sure. It's like, because there's a lot of times you got to do stuff to survive where you're going, hey, you know what? Use this or try this, and you're kind of like, that stuff, I don't know. Like
energy drink sponsors,
Oh my God, yeah. Like I feel bad even asking.
I'm not even saying a name.
A lot of athletes.
You just energy drink sponsors.
Exactly. You know.
So I've asked various people who are sponsored by energy drinks, be like, dude, I get that it's on your helmet, it's on your board, whatever, but like, be real, like, you don't fucking actually drink that shit, dude.
What are you drinking, 4 of these a day? You'll fucking die.
And there's one guy who said, nah, dude, I fucking drink it. And he's not like a young guy.
Yeah.
He's not even a young guy. And I thought, dude, that's great, man. There's integrity in that. I think that we've been pretty, like, I'm proud to say that for the stuff that we promote, like on the podcast and just in general, what we align ourselves with, like, there's nothing I promote that I don't stand by, that I don't use.
Yeah,
I have Laird. I have the superfood creamer in my car, and I just take key bumps as I'm going to my next destination.
Meanwhile, Paul's over here saying, black coffee, I'm over it. But I'll put your Laird creamer into your Laird infused black coffee.
Yeah. I'll put creamer in that.
No, but you know what? But it's interesting though when you talk about it too, because I throughout your. And listen, sometimes, you just got to do what you got to do to survive. But I always used to say, when you can say no, it doesn't mean as much as when you can't say no.
Right.
It's like when you can't say no and you say no, that just is a little more powerful. It's like later on when you can say no, then it's like, oh yeah, I don't do da. And in a way, I think that it's a responsibility. And unfortunately, you see it a lot in professional sports and stuff. You see like these guys promoting stuff and you're like, yeah, that's giving a lot of people diabetes, buddy. Like, you think you make enough money already? Do you have to like tell them to eat that? Or, and you know, and you have a responsibility. Like, people are looking up to you, you know, and kids are looking up to you, and they're looking at you like, hey, you're the guy, and you're saying, yeah, just have a little more of that poison. It's going to make you great. And you're like, I don't know. I just think there's some sort of karmic bill on that for me in my in my world that I live in. I just feel like, yeah, you know what? Maybe not now, but at some point you're going to have to walk up to the big guy and be like, yeah. Maybe I was, you know,
right.
Take your punishment.
I did. I love that, man. Laird's really got me rethinking this offer to be the next Colonel Sanders. All the people who dress up as Colonel Sanders, it's like, oh God, you fucking poor bastard.
That's so funny. I got a question. This is pivoting a little bit, but I just watched the David Attenborough documentary about how much the climate and the world has changed in his lifetime. And you being a guy so in touch with nature and you've spent so much time in the ocean, how have you personally seen, or have you seen the ocean change in your lifetime, and in what ways? Well,
I mean, I think the whole world, you know, that it's impossible if you're at all observant to deny the fact that the weather's just not acting like it.
Right. Mother Nature
normally does, given our short little, you know, time span of observing. I mean, just the size of the hurricanes, the size of the droughts, the length of periods of no rain, the length of periods of rain. I mean, just
fires,
all the stuff that's going on. I mean, the surf, our surf, and the way the surf is. I mean, the amount of, you know, the amount of garbage in the ocean in places, the dirtiness of the ocean, the lack of, you know, the lack of fish, you know, and just all of those factors are being, you know, it's happening. It's happening right in front of us, and you know, there's not a lot that it seems like we can do about it. I mean, in a way, this thing that we've just been going through, this pandemic, this corona, this thing is, you know, given the earth probably the biggest chance to get a breath that it's had in the last 100 years. I mean, it's
for sure,
you know, and I mean, I think there's been, people have seen results of that. People have looked around and they've seen like, wow, you know, certain things are just making a comeback just because they had, you know, 8 months or 6 months of just a few less, you know, jet planes, or a few less boats, or a few, just, you know, a few less something. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's I mean, we're definitely going through. We're going through some. I mean, obviously we're going through it, you know, because of what's going on right now. But the Earth is going through. You know, I always say, I tell people, I go, yeah, the Earth is sick. It's got an illness. It's called humans. It's like,
for sure.
I mean, it's, you know, that's the unfortunate truth. And I don't see an obvious. I think there's small ways that we're all trying to attempt to make a difference. But I think that, you know, when you see the volume, can't handle this amount of people. I mean, we just have too many people. There's just too many people and too much need to, you know.
But Paul asked what was really sounded like a great and just inspiring question. And Laird's answer was, you don't have to be a superhuman who spent his whole life in the ocean to see the obvious. Like, the world is fucked. Like, anybody can tell you the world is fucked.
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, that was.
But being a big wave guy, do the hurricanes help a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, are there bigger waves sometimes because of all this crazy weather?
There's more Category 5s, right? Which is pretty good for Nazare.
Yeah. I mean, we're you know, obviously we're getting real sporadic stuff too. We're getting like a big one and then nothing for months on end. So we're not necessarily getting. Lately, I mean, we're in La Nina right now, which means that the jet stream isn't like right over the Pacific. So we're getting like, it's a terrible North Pacific season thus far. The Atlantic is getting some freaky big ones, but you know, these big radical storms, I mean, these are signs of like, be careful. Like, we get the right situation, it's going to shut things down. I mean, it's just, you get some heavy duty, if that current stops in the Atlantic, all of a sudden, France goes into Europe goes into an ice age. I mean, and this stuff can happen quick given how quickly the weather's changing. But yeah, well, there'll be some giant ones. I mean, and the selfish side of it. But then there's also, like I said, like we're going through one of the flattest seasons that we've experienced in the North Pacific, this year.
Sure.
But
sure. And I'm just joking about that being it's not a benefit,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, dude, take it where you can
Silver
get it.
lining.
Man. Yeah, take the silver lining. Well, fucking hey, man, right on, dude. I think I don't have any more questions.
I had one last one, and then you have everything dialed in. It seems like you got the health, the spirituality, and beforehand, Gabby answered the Zoom, and then you guys had a really good communication. She was calling you. What's the key to like a successful long-term marriage?
Well, they did a study of 10,000 couples, and there was only one consistent factor that and people can agree or disagree, but
compromise.
The facts are the facts. But they did a study, and it didn't matter what the dynamic was: man, woman, bread holder, this thing, just they had every different scenario you could think of. But the one consistent thing was that the man respected the woman. I have a lot of respect for Gabby. I grew up with an incredible mother that allowed me to be highly respectful of women. I'm good with Gabby's being a powerful woman. I'm good with her. I mean, she wants to conquer the world. I'll be right there,
cool.
Clearing the path for her. So I'm super supportive on her. She's super supportive on me and my pursuits, sometimes beyond even my own kind of capacity to understand. She's like, yeah, I think you need to go and ride a wave somewhere. So there's cool. That. And for me, honestly, it's a little bit like a Cold War. We both have nukes. We know that it's going to be bad for everybody if we drop them, and no one's going to win. And if she shoots hers, it's probably the fallout's going to take her out. If I shoot mine, it's going to take me out. It's just a loss. So we just don't even go there. And right now we're trying to survive the girls. The girls are, more than a challenge for both of us, our daughters. But the truth is, that it's each of our own responsibility to be happy. So you go get happy, I'll go get happy, and then we'll come back and we'll be happy together.
That's great.
Don't rely on me to behave in a way or do things to make you happy, because I can barely make myself happy. How am I going to be able to make you happy? And vice versa. So, the two individuals becoming whole can be together. But if you're looking for people to, if you're looking for a partner to complete you, then you're putting unrealistic expectations. And then there's just that's going to fail. At some point, that's going to, because you're never going to be able to keep up with that. You're never going to be able to do everything and be everything, and for me on my side, Gabby told me once, no one's above survival, right? She looked straight at me and I'm like, I guess that means me. Like she's mean, like no one is above survival. You mean me? Like, are you talking? Yeah, you're talking to me. Okay. So I'm not above. So if it's survival or you, I'm surviving and you're not. So I'm like, I got that. But but also too, I think that it's in our relationship, and because there's so many different dynamics, I think it's important for people to assume their roles. It's like, and there could be, a man and woman can be together, and the woman can be the man, and the man can be the woman, and a woman and woman can be together, and a man can, woman can, everybody can be the thing, but there's got to be a male and a female dynamic in that, because that's what works, right? So, and it's like, I'm the one that, like, if there's something outside and it's dangerous, you probably send me out there, and if the toilet breaks and there's crap everywhere, you send me in there. Like, there's certain things that I'm good at that you call me in. Like, if there's a fire, I put the suit on and they go away and they're safe, and I'm going to fight the fire. It's like, that's what we do.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's and her, making the house and making sure everything and the details, that's her, she excels at that, and she assumes that role. So we assume our roles that make it possible. And I think that's why we've survived thus far. Let's just put it that. We're going on 25 years. So we have 25 years coming up on the 30th of this month. I better remember that day.
Congratulations.
Dude, so rad, man. Well, fucking hey, dude. Thank you, Laird.
Hey, thank you.
I just
well, maybe we'll get to see in person. Sometimes maybe we can get together.
Yeah,
I'll get you to come over and train.
I would
I'll
love
get you
that,
to come
dude.
into the deep end.
Dude,
you know, with dumbbells.
I love that.
Ice tub baptism. You know,
dude.
come on.
Yeah,
come on.
do it.
Dude, I'm
Go
in,
up.
man. I'm in, dude. Hell yeah, brother. Thank you so much.
Aloha.
Man, what a rad bro. And what a legend. Now, those of you who are watching this on YouTube, seeing this amazing background, gotta be wondering, where the hell are they and what are they doing? And I told you, it's a secret. Only for the people who stick around to the end of the podcast, because you know I love you so much. I'll tell you a little bit. We're in Utah, and we're on this crazy mission, driving around, giving tattoos. Okay? Yeah, I'm not telling you anymore, because it's a secret. Yeah, dude, thank you guys for listening and watching. Whatever.